Okay, let's have another Codex checkout. Checkout? Whatever. The problem now is that... Well, so far I have the exclamation marks on there. But now let's see if I... No, it didn't go away. Well, let's see. The journey so far. We should know what's going on, but let's... Okay, we have the first outpost that we haven't read anything about. Maybe even Crisis on Habitat. Nah, these are odd. I don't know if we should... Yeah, because these are just what we've done. I've proven myself to ally and stuff. Yeah, we know that. Crew like no other. Other? Oh yeah, we have new members of the team. Let's see. Nakmor Drak. After earning Nakmor Drak's respect on EOS. Just checking if we're recording. He agreed to join your squad. The Tempest is a little cozy for a Krogan, but the old-timers made himself comfortable. When not regaling the crew with stories, he hangs out in the galley, tinkering with his guns. Drak was one of many Krogan woken from stasis to help put down a mutiny on the Nexus. When the Krogan weren't given the authority they were promised, his people left to settle Helios their own way. Drak's granddaughter Kesh stayed on the Nexus. He might say she's keeping them honest. I have a question. The exiles, and the Krogan left, they weren't exiles as such, but they decided to leave. And then there were people who were made to leave. The mutineers. How do they find their home planets? Like they just come up with a, hey, there's a planet, let's go live there. It's habitable. And we have such problems finding those places. That's something I don't understand. I believe we should have read about Korra. Oh yeah, because these are... Yeah, because this is journey so far. Lexi should have just a little bit of thing. Bibi may have... Oh, just a little there too. How did Drak have so much info on it? That is odd. That is really odd. Is he like the main character in this game? Because every other person has like 2 lines. He's got 12 or something. That is odd. Well, anyway. Ryder? What about Ryder? Ah. So... From where has this been updated then? Maybe from I would add. I do not know, so I'm not going to even read that. Mourning the father. Right. So journey so far is something we shouldn't go over, I guess, because we are going over it as we go. Andromeda Initiative, known associates, they're... Oh yeah, these are the long versions. I'm not sure if we've gone through BB. We found her... after the first Codex, so we shouldn't have been. Maybe we did that when we found her. I believe we should have done it. But anyways, BB describes herself freely as the foremost Milky Way expert on the Remnant and their technology. It is difficult to verify her qualifications for this, as many Nexus personnel records have been lost. DNA and fingerprint matches give the name Belisaria Besail. Oh, so that's BB. Belisaria Besail. Although, according to the revival schedule, that individual should be in stasis. BB's only comment is nothing like getting a head start. Intriguing. Piecing together information from Eos and the Nexus, Bibi was born on the planet Hyatiana in the Milky Way after voyaging to Andromeda on the Nexus. She left the station some months ago to explore the Helios cluster alone and became fascinated by the remnant. So she came on the... So the Nexus is like... Is that the human arc? No. Because Nexus is just the Nexus. Or is it an arc? I'm a bit off on that. I don't know. I think it should be an arc, and then there are different... So are all arcs like Nexus? Huh. I have to find an arc to confirm that. Where was I? After voyaging to Andromeda on the Nexus, she left the station some months ago to explore the Helios remnant cluster alone and became fascinated by the remnant. She has classified and dismantled several types of remnant, but she prefers to keep her findings private for now. Psychologically, Bibi demonstrates both extremely high intelligence and hyper-individualism. Her restlessness is typical of many Asari in their maiden phase of life, though few go so far as to visit another galaxy. Well, I'm not sure. That's another question I don't have an answer to. Maybe I should have played the trilogy first. Like, where do the Asari come from? Are they somewhere on Milky Way too? Because... well, I guess they should be, because I don't think we have had a means for intergalactic travel before. Like, weren't the Mass Effect relays also within the Milky Way? I don't know. Callow was born on Serkesh and quoting directly into a life so boring even you couldn't calculate it. Pushed towards lucrative but dull bureaucratic career with Barohi Aerospace, Callow became more interested in flying the starships he was meant to be cataloging. He eventually left Serkesh for formal pilot training and joined Barohi's competitor as a test pilot. Internal emails show that when the Andromeda initiative was building teams to develop their survey vessels, Barohi Aerospace warned against recruiting Callow so fervently that Gene Carson's interest was piqued. Callow claims that the prospect of the initiative was intriguing enough to make him join the Tempest design team, test flying her early prototypes, running stress tests in regions like the Nemean Abyss, and, rumor has it, helping to acquire advanced technology. This is interesting. Callow has an acute photographic memory, even by Solarian standards. This may be linked to his unusual motor responses, though he discourages my speculation. As any Solarian would, I guess. Vetronix. The Andromeda Initiative's records on Vetronix are sparse. She states that she is from Palaven, but has also disclosed that she is not recognized as a formal citizen of Turian society, never having entered boot camp. Oh? It appears she left Palaven at an early age and spent most of her life in the outer reaches of Council space, never settling down in one place. Vetra was recruited into the initiative by Nakmor Kesh, who lists her as a business associate and recommended her on the basis of her street smarts, adaptability and familiarity with most weapons. Vetra's only other recorded family is her sister Sidera Nix, who accompanied Vetra on the journey to Andromeda on board the Nexus. A footnote in Vetra's file indicates that she may have been part of an unnamed mercenary band that was hired to steal sensitive military secrets from a base on Menei. The culprits were never caught. Lexi Pero. There's something new about her. Because I'm sure the first Codex entry, well, Codex reading session was after flying the Tempest to Eos. Oh, well, that would actually make sense, because maybe at that time we didn't learn what she was about, who she was. Let's see. Although young by Asari standards, Lexi Pero. Yeah. Oh, I was remembering something else. I thought I have definitely read this. Probably not. Although young by Asari standards, Lexi Pero is regarded as one of the most skilled doctors in the Andromeda initiative. Born on the crime-ridden space station Omega, Lexi began her medical career by stitching up her father, a Turian bouncer, at the Afterlife nightclub, where her mother was also employed as a dancer. Afterlife nightclub. That sounds super familiar. In her screening interviews, Lexi states her parents' dream was for her to get off this rock and live a life worth talking about. Following her parents' wishes, Lexi left Omega to continue studying medicine as well as psychology on the Citadel, where she eventually met Harry Carlyle. Carlyle convinced her to join the initiative as the Hyperion's physician. Although there was some confusion around assigning an Asari to the human ark, Lexi's credentials and expertise in alien anatomy quickly silenced any concerns. By her own admission, Lex is a workaholic. On or off the table, I have a hard time not dissecting people. Figuratively, of course. One of her many goals in Helios is to improve her bedside manner and learn to appreciate the moment. Now there's a lot about Drac, I suppose. Yeah. Again, it feels like there's most written on him, but that's okay, he's an interesting guy. As verified by records Nexus's records and his own claims, the Krogan mercenary Nakmor Drac is among the oldest beings to join the Andromeda initiative. What? I thought Asari were the oldest things to... Well, maybe the lizard thing is... Well, they're both lizards. Sort of. Huh. He originally traveled on the Nexus along with many other members of Clan Nakmor, but left after the Nexus uprising. So definitely Nexus wasn't a human ark. It was a mixed thing. Or maybe, as the name suggests, the Nexus for all the arcs. Born on Tuchanka around 700 CE. I don't know what the CE means. Drac was a young warrior when the Krogan rebellions began in earnest. He and his Krant accounted for over 200 kills, which Drac claims includes 3 of the then newly founded Council Spectres. After the Solarian-designed Genophage ended the rebellions, various bounties and military bulletins show Drac chose a new path as a pirate and soldier of fortune for whatever conflicts came his way. Over centuries of fighting, multiple injuries required several of his limbs and organs to be replaced with cybernetics. Oh. Well, that explains something. Eventually, Drac says his search for one last horizon brought him to Andromeda. Drac did not travel alone. He accompanied most of his clan to Andromeda, including granddaughter Nakmor Kesh and clan leader Nakmor Morda. Kesh and Drac maintain a close relationship, exchanging regular messages, no matter where their duties in Helios take them. I don't think there's more. No, at least no exclamation marked ones. Marked one. There it is again. I realized it's Stalker. There we have the marked one. The Nexus. I haven't really dealt with hydroponics, I just ran through. Same with the cultural exchange. Maybe we should read upon them when we get there. At some point. Foster, we haven't read about Nakmar Cares. We haven't really interacted with her. Only in the beginning with like for a short time. Pathfinders. There's an article about Turian Pathfinder. Born on Palaven and a decorated engineer in Blackwatch, Mason Barrow was touted by the hierarchy to be a shining example of a Turian citizen. There were concerns among initiative leadership about whether or not he would leave his comfortable life behind to become the Turian Pathfinder, but Mason was eager. So long as he could name his replacement Avitus Rix, a former Spectre. Internal emails and screening interviews state Mason and Avitus met in the field and suggest that their relationship may be more than platonic. Mason Barrow left the Milky Way aboard the Turian Ark Natanus in 2185, like so many others. Ark species, Andromeda of species, planets and locations, technology, ships and vehicles. Let's see about the Angara. No, Angaran are here, I suppose. There's more about other races too. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. Okay, let's go. Angara, Evra de Tershav. Before Evra de Tershav assumed command of the resistance, he claims it was a disorganized and ineffectual group of zealots who were sliding into irrelevance. In fact, Charles explains it was the resistance failure to protect Evra's family from the Ket that drove Evra to join the group, with the goal of turning it into the effective guerrilla army it aspired to be. Resistance distributed literature explains that Evra's single-minded dedication to his cause became evident when he led a successful raid on a Ket slave labor camp, reporting that Evra's resistance forces liberated hundreds of Angaran prisoners before wiping out an entire battalion of Ket sent to stop the attack. According to Jal, Evra is feared by his resistance subordinates and respected by Angaran leaders, but he remains as an isolated individual. He keeps no close ties by design. Everyone in the resistance is expendable. Expendable, not expandable. They can't expand them. Well, maybe if they, like, compressed air. Anyway, and Evra is said to understand too well the pain that comes with losing those closest to him. And we should have read about Charles first, and maybe even Evra, to know what the hell is this talking about. But let's see about their culture. Our first cultural exchanges quickly revealed that there is no homogeneous Angaran culture. Development on separate planets has left striking differences in Angaran social norms that are yet to be reconciled, and we know this how. I don't know this. Well, these are Sam's notes. He's very quick to pecan things, I guess. Some common threads can be established. The Angara prize familial unity. Preferring to live, work and raise children in extended family groups. Okay. Political factions tend to emerge from these extended families with leaders elected by popular support. Spirituality has a role in Angaran daily life, with their calendar making space for the religious holidays of many different faiths. As a safe and hospitable garden world, Aya has emerged as a center of Angaran society and trade. With many communities facing harsh conditions and resource shortages, a lottery system is used to transfer personnel to Aya for extended periods. These Garrison, roughly sanctuary trips, also serve to pool reclaimed scientific knowledge and military strategy. Yeah, Aya was the planet we were on before, and now we're on Havarl. Because I was wondering, what the hell? How is this center of Angaran society and trade? But it's Havarl, it's science planet? Yeah, there's scientists and explorers. And the resistance people and bases are on Volt and on the ice planet. That's the thing I think. What about the languages? They have several different languages. Angaran linguists describe between 200 to 300 public languages across their combined settlements. Okay. When accounting for family languages spoken privately and passed down over generations, the number climbs rapidly into the thousands. Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking, why would they have like, they're a certain race, why would they have like different languages? Like, what's that about? And then I started thinking, humans, they have a few languages. Why would that be? Yeah, right. The language used by most Angara across the Helios cluster is Shelesh, a lingua franca that was commonly used in the early days of Angaran spaceflight before fading into obscurity. New connections between Angaran settlements and constant evolution of languages since their separation means it has now seen a revival. Sources say Shelesh originally meant to barter for the moon, apparently a joke or pun around the idea of trading between interstellar colonies. Some terms, Angara. Yeah, I'm not going over those. I'm not trying to learn. Tavetan. I have this weird memory fragment of my own from 8 years ago. Someone said Tavetan in the bar on Aya. But I thought it meant the bar and not a friend or trusted comrade. I also remember that would have been Tavatan, which would be funny for different reasons. Also language thing. Angara the Rokar. Yeah, these are the tough guys we met. Jal describes the Rokar as dangerous cousins, ruthless and single-minded. The Rokar propaganda describes their intent to drive all alien invaders, both Milky Way and Ket, out of the Helios cluster. The Rokar were founded by Aksul, a charismatic Angara who once studied with the Moshe. Jal explains that Aksul was captured by the Ket and held in a forced labor camp for over a standard year, while the resistance could not risk a rescue. Though he survived, Aksul was embittered against the resistance and alien life. Upon his escape, he recruited young Angara and disaffected resistance members into an independent force named after fearsome soldiers from Angaran mythology, the Rokar. The arrival of the Nexus, portrayed as further invaders by Aksul, propagated the Rokar past breaking point. They are now engaged in full-fledged guerrilla operations against all non-Angaran inhabitants of the cluster. The Angaran resistance officially disavows the Rokar, but family and political interconnections complicate any organized opposition to them. What do we know about their technology? Considering their we've scanned a few items. Considering their civilization endured both the immense disaster of the Scourge and the brutal Ket invasion. Angara possesses remarkably advanced technology. Their starships, while generally small and bare-bones functional, are more than capable of keeping pace with Andromeda Initiative vessels. Angara use advanced communications and computer systems that have quickly adapted to interface with Milky Way devices, helping to smooth through some of the technological hurdles of first contact. When it comes to personal technology, Angara have focused primarily on defensive and offensive innovations. Their weapons and armor are impressive enough to garner approval from Krogan, who have witnessed them in battle, and are designed to work seamlessly with the innate Angaran control over electromagnetism. Innate Angaran control over electromagnetism. Whoa. The Angara are in turn fascinated by Milky Way omnitools. So am I. How the hell does that work? And have already begun experimenting with the technology for their own use. The Angara have also had decades to study Ket technology firsthand. Decades? I thought they were newcomers to Ket too. Huh. If relations remain cordial, this technological knowledge may become invaluable. Invaluable. Yay. The word I used to think meant worthless. The Resistance. We haven't met them yet. I think we'll... because they're supposed to be on Volt, right? Right? I was told Resistance base was in Volt. Maybe we'll go through that then. The Angara as a species. The Angara are the only known sentient species local to the Helios cluster. Scattered across numerous worlds, the Angara are uniting as people. Though much of their culture and scientific knowledge has been lost, the Angara continue to rebuild and resist the Ket conquest of Helios. From our cultural exchanges, we know that the Angara have a unique control over electromagnetism. That's a hard one to go over. Electromagnetism. Specialized skin cells and organs allow them to generate and control electromagnetic fields artistically or unleash them in combat. Oral histories describe how ancient Angara were tribal and nomadic before settling in cities. Many of them still live in large, tight-knit families and workplaces, have a guild-like organizational structure. Politically, the Angara remain divided. Attempts at a reformed government were disrupted by the Ket approximately 5 years ago. No, disrupted by the Ket. Period. Approximately 5 years ago, a coherent resistance movement emerged on Aya. The first to draw unilateral political support with the goal of driving the Ket out of Helios for good. So they were emerged on Aya, but now they're based on Bold. History. Many historical records of the Angara have been lost, but what survives tells the story of how ancient Angara achieved spaceflight. Eventually they settled on 5 separate garden worlds, including Vold. Garden worlds? Vold? The Scourge struck in approximately 2400 CE by our calendar. The phenomenon devastated the Helios cluster, destroyed many Angaran cities, and sent their culture into a decline. This dark age lasted for over a century. Oh, so it's not a new thing at all. Before the Angara began to adapt to the new conditions in Helios, eventually the disparate Angara regained spaceflight capability and re-established contact with one another. But the isolation had fostered separate cultural, political and spiritual blocks. The Angara struggled to find common ground. The struggle was ongoing when the Ket arrived 75 years ago. Okay, so they've been quite long here. The Archon exploited their disparity and began a brutal conquest of the Helios cluster. Ironically, as several Angaran historians point out, a common enemy provided the impetus to unite. Today, the Angara continue their efforts at reconstruction and resistance. Holy. And about the cat? What is new about the cat? Cat Fiend. Oh, the big guy we met. Well, I think quite fast after the Codex 1. Fiends are monstrous beasts with a heavily armored carapace. Unlike the stealthier wraiths, Fiends are besieging units that attack head-on, scattering enemy forces and destroying entrenched enemy positions. They attack non-Ket without appearing to need orders. Some scientists believe Fiends respond aggressively to an absence of Ket pheromones or similar cues. So if we can rip some reproductive organs from a couple Ket and use them as earrings, we should be safe from Fiend, right? A Fiend's carapace is permeated by dense cartilage that makes it both strong and flexible and acts as a shock absorber for incoming fire. Preliminary study of their nervous system suggests that nerve transmission is dampened above a certain pain threshold, allowing a Fiend to detect injury but not be slowed by it. Reports of Fiend encounters are often accompanied by casualty lists, and the militia advises that only a well-armed and organized team should handle a Fiend at full rampage. The Archon. Yeah, we met him before we went to Aya. Well, we didn't meet him. On a video call, we met him. The cat present a mysterious but ever-present danger in the Helios cluster. As the militia struggles to gather any details on the plans or motivations, rumors have reached the nexus of the Ket's leader, a powerful military commander known as the Archon. This Archon is said to command the Ket from a dreadnought out in unknown space, and is only rarely sighted planetside. Thus far, these sightings are always at remnant dig sites, or Ket-controlled remnant structures. The Archon's interest in the remnant remains unexplained, but intelligence gathering continues. Ket annoyed. The Ket soldiers, known as Anointed, appear to be of similar caste to the Chosen. Infantry equipped with light armor, Anointed however wield heavy plasma cannons, making them a rallying point for other Ket forces, and shield themselves with kinetic barriers against splashback. I haven't noticed that kinetic barrier. Huh. A barrage from an Anointed plasma cannon can shred through enemy barriers and severely damage ground vehicles. Communication intercepts suggest that Anointed assist in coordinating Chosen squads and act in an NCO role. It is unclear if the term Anointed refers to a senior rank amongst the Chosen, or if Anointed are part of a separate division within the Ket infantry. Ket Wraith. Ah, these doggies. They have been around since from beginning, right? I may have even skipped the reading of these, but the exclamation points were gone and I'm not sure. I'm not gonna read them again. I know that. Maybe. Nicknamed by Initiative Scouts unlucky enough to encounter them, wraiths are war beasts, capable of adjusting their carapace pigmentation to blend into their surroundings. This ability lets them stalk an enemy over distances unseen or cause sudden disorder in enemy ranks, flushing targets to be picked off by other Ket forces. When attacking, wraiths leap and strike with impressive jaw strength that can puncture ceramic armor. Wraiths present an interesting study to Nexus scientists, initially believed to originate from the same homeworld as the Ket, since they have similar physical characteristics. I believe they're like made that way. They're not born with it, I would believe. Initially believed wraiths show clear genetic similarity with other feral creatures sighted across the Helios cluster. Yeah, that's my point. Like the, what were the little creatures we killed a lot in the last episode? Can't remember, but just slap some bone on them and they look alike. Kinda. Flora and fauna. There's just these... Huh? Overview. I don't think wildlife has too much of an effect. Well, we'll go back to that if they start to have effect on our journey. Outlaws. Are Adhis outlaws? Oh, I guess. What the hell? This I have to read if they're considered as outlaws. Atri are four-legged life forms sighted on multiple worlds across the Helios cluster, often foraging together in packs. They are extremely intelligent and capable of understanding complex commands. Wandering explorers and mercenaries are often accompanied by one or two trained Adhi for defense. Ah, so they're like outlaws attack dog. I thought they were considered outlaws as themselves, but they're like their pet tool, whatever. When attacking Adhi, drive opponents out of secure positions to make them vulnerable to gunfire or a concerted attack by the rest of the pack. Their jaw strength has been measured in excess of 1900 newtons. Dangerous even when wearing a hard suit. Adhi also show no fear of scout rovers. Interestingly, the Adhi genome shows signs of extensive genetic engineering that resemble the uplifting of some domestic animals on Earth before gene modification laws were put in place. These adaptations allow the Adhi to survive in hazardous environments and may account for their almost tactical intelligence even in the wild. Saboteur. All these are just a saboteur. I'm not sure we need this information. They are saboteurs. And these are one of their people that try to kill us. So who are these raiders though? Yeah, outlaw bands of Helios cluster are diverse. Some were individuals who joined the Andromeda initiative as an escape from Milky Way. And some of them are exiles and yeah, doesn't really matter. The Remnant, what is new here? Cheese. Cheese is new. And the exclamation marks keep disappearing as I roll over the goddamn thing. Not going over the remnants, no. Plans and locations. We're at Havarl. We were on Aya. were on Aya. Aya is an anomaly in the Helios cluster, a lush planet where a remnant site appears to be active. It is a sanctuary for the Angara, the only known sentient species local to Helios, and guarded fiercely against outsiders. This is helped by Aya's position relative to Helios' black hole. Well, there's that, whose gravitational lensing effect makes Aya harder to detect. Aha, so they're kinda safe. The Scourge also makes the approach to Aya extremely dangerous for untrained pilots. Scans indicate numerous Ket wrecks lost in the Scourge nearby, picked clean by Angaran salvages. Well, that's a good place to be then. Aya is also the headquarters of the Angaran resistance movement. Huh, so the base is on Vold, but the headquarters is on Aya. Okay. Against the Ket, whose leaders advise Aya's planetary governor Paranshi. Director Tan has ordered that Aya is not only to be considered sovereign territory but a military power. While the Tempest and its crew were allowed to visit peacefully, the Nexus is advising extreme caution to other potential visitors and ordering the distribution of early contact guidelines. Yeah, makes sense. And the Havarl we're on. As Charles explains, Havarl is considered the ancestral home of the Angara. The ruins of Angaran cities are a draw for researchers, looters and Angara who defy the Ket to make pilgrimage. The planet's history also makes it a symbolic staging ground for the ruthlessly xenophobic Rokar. Long-range surveys by the Andromeda Initiative indicated Havarl was a garden world of lush green jungles and abundant liquid water. The planet was considered a golden world and given the label Habitat 3. Oh. Our observations today show Havarl is unrecognizable. The jungles now dominate much of the planet's surface, demonstrating bizarre growth patterns. Samples show grotesque mutations and hormonal changes in the jungle's plant life, rendering it not only extremely hardy but hazardous for consumption. These factors point to a large-scale shift in Havarl's ecology that bears investigation. Well said. About. Where? Is there anything about Jarl? He is not an Arc species, Andromeda species. Jarl is not here. And he is not considered crew, is he? He's just now with us. No, he is considered crew. Jarl Amadarav has joined the Pathfinder team. He has? I thought he was just like hanging with us to show Ephra that we're good guys. But I guess he's part of the team now. Well, his good intentions to help you gain the trust of the Angara seem sincere. However, he's keeping you at arm's length for now, and it seems that you'll need to gain his trust too. Yeah, and later I think we'll go through some more, but I want to play the game now.